Hello, everybody. We're back. I do apologize. I was not able to stream yesterday because the connection here was just completely and utterly terrible. So I did a lot of off-stream work. I actually finished Heart's section with Karis. We're going to go through it just to make sure there's no grammatical errors. Then we can finally get to the final section of this, which is Mia's section. So looking at this, we're at 46 minutes long for the whole video. So I might add more, but we'll see. I think 46 minutes, well, at least 50 minutes is fine. So we'll see. But as mentioned, Heart section's done. We're going to start watching from Neo Judgment all the way until the end. So I'm going to be paying attention to any typos, to sit back and relax. And as soon as we're done, we'll get to Mia section. All right, let's do this. All right. I'm really not trying to get any typos over here. This is such an important section. But just going off of all that I have done right now, it's a lot of stuff. Like, holy shit, this is a lot. So this section right here is all we have left, and that's Mia section. All right, so that section's fine. Don't be surprised if I just make this my thumbnail. It's so cool. We'll do a cool split. And again, I do apologize. The internet is terrible over here. I got about a month left here, so just bear with me for a month, then we'll be back at my barracks. The deployment is over. But the internet does spike from time to time. It does fix itself, but depending on when I stream, we'll make or break this. If it's like nighttime, it's hit or miss. If it's right now, we're good. There's no one online. Hold on. I do feel I went a little bit edgy, way too edgy with Karis, but we needed to make a good impact. Having an enemy appearance as a song for the background is actually really good. And always remember, when you're doing DaVinci Resolve, just make sure your audio is always in between green and yellow. You don't want it to be red, you don't want it to peak, because that will make your viewers just pissed off. Like, one random spike into the red's fine, but always make sure you're at least between green and yellow. Especially because some of these sound effects are so ridiculously loud. I changed the edit sound effect. It's still the same, but I put it a little bit later. It wouldn't be one of my Sprite animations if I didn't at least do a callback to that. We won't talk about Nintendo Direct though. It's damn. It's been about 16 years since Dark Dawn came out. Ugh, it's not looking good. Let me do this real quick. I think oh fuck, sorry about that. What I can do, there we go. Later on I'll fix it. It should make it a lot easier to read. It was definitely a good idea making her black. Or just giving her a tint. Because Karis's boots are just way too bright. The aura is not going to be 100%. I could make it. I could have done it, but I just really was not worried about that. There was other pressing matters I had to deal with. Only takes those 2 words. And when I get to CapCut, I'll add all the fun effects. And again, as mentioned, this is actual dialogue from Dark Dawn, besides the parentheses. I didn't add any sound effects to this because this is technically a flashback. It wouldn't make sense to have it. That mugshot came out so good. Oh, I'm making Sprite animation for Golden Sun. It's a reimagining of Golden Sun from 1 all the way till Dark Dawn. We're filling in the gaps from... Hold on, let me pause this real quick. Give me 1 sec. This is a reimagining of the Golden Sun story. We're fixing plot holes. We're making it a more dark, mature, and adult-oriented. But the biggest thing is we're fixing up plot holes for sure. Everything is pretty much all sprite animation from beginning to end. Everything is pretty much custom done. For example, we'll give you a good example. Like Minardi's, Mia, sprites are all good to go. All this I've made from the ground up using Aseprite. For example, Mia's doing actual combat stuff. But the biggest thing, hold on, let me pause this. Like one of my biggest issues was a lot of characters, they weren't really fleshed out. Like Minardi, for example, you only really fight her like 1.5 times, like prologue and the end. And after Mercury Lighthouse, Mia is pretty much just there. She doesn't really have much going for her besides that. So, as mentioned, everything is pretty much done from the ground up. Like, I'll give you a slight little preview. Mugshots are done from the ground up as well. And like I said, everything is pretty much done in Aseprite. Aseprite is still going to be your workhorse. Aseprite and Adobe Animate. Adobe Animate's where you do all the fun stuff, like this. Aseprite's where you do all the sprite work. Like Minardi's sprite right there, it's color matched to her promo art. She's actually doing her promo pose right now. Mia's is... It's a weird Frankenstein stuff right now with Mia's sprite. We're just throwing in a lot of Dark Dawn because Dark Dawn, I feel... This is a laugh. Yeah, it was. There's ongoing stuff happening. You know what? I'll just let it play. But, yeah, the biggest thing is just trying to fix a lot of issues that I personally had with the game. The big thing is just them not fleshing out characters. So I have introduced new characters. Like there's some time shenanigans afoot right now. There's a lot of time bullshit happening. The best way to describe it is, you know, if you ever travel back in time I am a beginner. Good, good. Sprite's fun, especially with these sprites. As you know, Golden Sun sprites, they have 21 sprites per main character. Villains have 7 sprites. So Mia, for example, over there, she has over 120 sprites right now. It's very, very hard with Golden Sun sprites because the moment you start altering them, they can distort really, really badly. But yes, the biggest thing is with this game series, I personally feel there's a lot of plot holes. A lot of things that could have been fleshed out. There we go. Adobe Animate is such a workhorse for this. I'm not gonna deny it. It's such a workhorse. I'd say out of everybody, these two, their sprites are the hardest to work on. Just because, I'll pause it real quick. Oh yeah, DaVinci Resolve sucks at times. Her sprite is very, very wide. These, like, they're very wide because of their weapons. Her coat makes her wider than she probably should be. Just how she is in general, Minority just makes her stupidly hard to work with. Especially since I gave her a new pose. I do a lot of references to other games for this, like fighting games, for example. Like we'll see in a second. I do a lot of references to that because I used to play back in the day, I used to compete. So there's a lot of fun nods to that. The backgrounds, for sure, the backgrounds are hard to do because Aseprite is what we use for the backgrounds. Like this background is not in the game. We had to use the dark sky for summons to actually get this to work right. The background, well, the foreground actually is from another source from Tales of Eternia. So I just put both of them together. Which we're going to see in a flashback sequence. Mercury Lighthouse Base, which is not a real stage, I had to make from the ground up using a lot of assets from the game. Like game assets, they're good, but you might have to do some funky stuff, especially with tiles. This is why I have a shit ton of tile sets just for this specific project. I'm not going to deny it. This project is very difficult when it comes to sprite animation, extremely difficult. I'm not going to deter anybody from not doing it. I do recommend you try it out if you're very, very interested in this franchise, or in general, just try it out. Just know you're going to have a lot of long nights. Like I'm not going to stress it enough. Like there's been times where I've been working on one sprite and it took me at least 2 hours just to get one thing done. Like for example, the fire sword that Mia has in her hand right now, it's there's a story reason why she has that for my specific story. That flame effect has been the bane of my existence because that flame loves just dying. I've tried every trick I know and I cannot get it to work. King of Fighters references right there. Yes. Okay, and another thing. Fuck. This so many things happening at once. Sorry about that. Okay, so Golden Sun sprites. They do not have front-facing sprites like this. They do not. So we had to make this one from the ground up as well. Because Golden Sun sprites, they're on a 3/4 plane. So they're looking diagonal. Because remember, these are JRPG sprites. JRPGs are, well, sprites in general, are usually corner-facing. Unless you're possibly like Xenosaga, old school Tales games, which were on a 2D plane. But these guys, they're on your traditional diagonal motion. So we had to make this one from the ground up. Like Aseprite, I'm not joking. Aseprite is your primary best friend here. DaVinci Resolve, I'm not going to stress it, is one of the best things you can do for this. CapCut is good, depending on which version you use, but CapCut can get overloaded very quickly. So when it comes to like text boxes like this, like it's really hard for CapCut to keep up. So DaVinci Resolve is a good substitute. So the way I break down this specific project is Aseprite is where I get started with. Then everything I'm done with Aseprite gets translated over to Adobe Animate. Then from Adobe Animate, we come all the way to DaVinci Resolve. This is where we do all the dialogue and some effects, not all the effects. Like right now, there's a black vignette around Minority right now just to give off the dark look. But this is not where I use all my cool effects. When it comes to actual fluff, that comes from CapCut. And I use version 1.5 because CapCut, unfortunately, when newer versions come out, they lock the effects behind a paywall, unfortunately. And this is where I use my sound effects as well. Sound effects, I'll go with sound effects real quick. Sound effects with DaVinci Resolve is really easy to use, but for some odd reason, a lot of like good effects, like sound effects, they're stuck on mono. So, all right, for example, we'll use the block effect right here. So you click on it, right click it. Unfortunately, OBS is stupid, so you're not able to see what I'm seeing, but you right click on the sound effect, you go to clip attributes, and go to audio. From there, you'll see format. Almost 9 times out of 10, your audio effects will be on mono. You have to put it on stereo, or else you're only going to hear from one side. It must be on stereo. From there, the secondary source channel will open up. You click the drop down and copy the exact same thing that's on the above one. So embedded channel 1, then another embedded channel 1. Then from there, you can actually hear set effects. And you always want to make sure, because some effects are just really, really loud. Like this effect goes up into the yellow. You don't want it to clip to the red. For voiceovers, sure, but for effects, no. Yeah, but definitely when I get... Yep. Oh yeah, I use that for the more important scenes. Like for battles, not so much, but definitely for like very, very like dramatic sections, I use ambience. Ambience is good in small portions, in my honest opinion. Also, Dragon Ball effects are good for teleports. definitely good for teleports. I was kind of pushing it with the edge. Kind of. So for this next section, it's kind of important because we're actually going to be using real-world sound effects. Okay, just for an ongoing gag because of the kick in the face, what we did is add a shotgun effect, like the pumping, then the blasting for when she gets kicked in the face. And I use actual in-game sound effects whenever I can. So the bum bum when she jumps, that's actually the jumping effect from Golden Sun. Shotgun, pump, then kick. Yeah, Dragon Ball definitely is good. Definitely good for sprite animations. But with my thing, I definitely use a lot of flashbacks because I used to do a lot of sprite animation back in the day, like back in the New Rounds era. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm so old. But I like building up a story, so I do a lot of storytelling. Like, sure, you can have a lot of fight sequences, that's cool, but have your fight sequences have some form of story. That's how I usually go about things. So I do a lot of flashbacks. What else? Unfortunately, right here, there's nothing I can really do about this until I get to CapCut. I added a black flash in order to simulate blinking or staying conscious, like that. I use Zelda effects right there. All right. This section here, I feel, is very important because it's a flashback sequence. So flashbacks, in my honest opinion, are good to use, but you have to do them the right way. So right now we have a vignette around this, but we put this in grayscale. In order for you to actually get this in grayscale, you click on the clip itself, you go to color, make sure it's actually selected. So it's right here. You just bring the saturation down to 0. That's how you get that. It's easy enough. If you want to add a film grain to it just to make it seem a little bit more dramatic, you can do that. And I think I actually do have a film grain. I do. So there's a vignette. I have it on size 0.722 and anamorphism at 1.675. Then we have film damage. Film damage, you can just keep it as is. And having the static on the mugshot definitely helps out. Oh, one bad thing about DaVinci Resolve, it has trouble with effects at times. Like if you have a lot of effects stacked up, you might lag. Like right now we're at 60 FPS, but that effect was around, there's like 3 effects, I believe. So I brought it down to like 40, but it'll be fine as soon as you extract it. Okay. Now let's see. What else? Definitely DaVinci Resolve, I feel it's a very good program. Like, I love it. But when it comes to effects, CapCut does have superior effects, in my own opinion. Like, you can do a lot with DaVinci Resolve. Which we're gonna watch the Neo Judgment section one more time so I could actually go over some things. Neo Judgment from the ground up. That was a very difficult sprite to do because we had to take an existing summon and actually convert it into. It's a reference to Gundam Wing, if people have watched anime before, well, in this world specifically. So it is a reference to that. So I had to break Judgment into little bitty pieces and make new things for it. Like, Judgment was so hard to do, Neo Judgment. Which, once we get there, we'll see it. So right now, it's kind of hard to see, but Minardi's crouching sprite over there, her damage sprite, is actually something I had to make. Her scythe, if you look in the game assets, it's always attached to her hand. So we had to get rid of her arm that's actually holding her scythe and actually remake the scythe from the ground up. So the little blue section on her that she's holding, I had to remake. Aseprite, everybody. It's a $2 program right now, but it's going to be your best friend, especially with stuff like this. All right, the impalement right here. The impalement, well, her trying to impale her for information was very fun to do. We're going to go over this one more time. So, this background I had to make from the ground up. It took at least like a month to do, but I like the way it came out. So, in the last episode, Mia was interrogating her for information. She slammed her on the ice thing she had her behind. The ice thing shattered. Her blood came from her mouth right here. She gave the wrong answer. Then Mia turned her blood into an ice shard, as such. With Adobe Animate, we added a tween on both of them. So Mia's technically holding her right now. I know it's weird because I forgot to actually put this in front of her. That's a me mistake because I was going to work at the time, so I was rushing and I forgot to actually change it. So we added a classic tween to both of them. So her sprite, Minardi sprite, is going from here diagonal, and Mia is actually going from left to right. See? All right. Adobe Animate, everybody. All right. I do feel I kind of went a little bit overboard with this. This is good. People who watch the VODs, I definitely do recommend you take up a project like this, especially if you're a fan of this series or just Sprite animation in general, because I'm using old tech. Like, the game has changed. It's definitely changed. So I'm learning things just as people are right now. My old tech does work for certain things, but the new stuff, damn, holy shit. But a drawback is a lot of effects that I've actually collected over the years, they're not compatible with Adobe Animate, like the newer ones. So you have to know ActionScript 2.0 for Adobe Animate is not compatible. So you may get errors. Some errors aren't bad, but some of them can be very catastrophic and can destroy your entire project, which happened to me numerous times on stream. So just make sure, if you're going to be doing this, just make sure your effects is good for the program that you're actually going to be doing the sprite animation for. Like I have at least 20 gigs worth of effects that I've collected over the years, but a good chunk of them aren't actually like good. Like the aura that Mia has on her right now is kind of hard to see. It's not compatible, but it hasn't caused any crashes, which is good. But yeah, you just got to make sure your effects are either ActionScript 3.0 these days, because 2.0 may or may not work. All right. So again, the biggest thing right now in this sprite animation, I feel, is Neo Judgment, because Neo Judgment, definitely, we have a lot of stuff happening with it, which is about to show up in a second. All right, let's see. And like I mentioned earlier, CapCut is good for the effects, but for all this stuff right here, dialogue, it lags behind. Because right now, I don't know if you can see it, but we're running at 60 FPS right here. Like, we're good. Like, there's no crazy lag issues happening, but with CapCut, it would lag a lot. Like, when I first started this project, I was just using CapCut for everything, and I realized the hard way, like, yeah, CapCut will not handle this. All right, let's see. Death Sprite, for people that have actually played the game, is just, it's Mortal Blow. It's an unleash from a weapon. Death only has 2 PNGs. His neutral pose right there and his slashing, which you're gonna see in a second. I might have to redesign. I might have to redesign him. I don't know what I'm gonna do with him yet, because when it comes to altering actual like enemies or unleashes, it's hard. Judgment, which you're about to see in a moment, was an experiment. I've done it before with Atalanta. It wasn't that bad. I didn't really change much, but Judgment is where I really was experimenting. So right now, I want you to pay attention to Death. He's gonna turn around and he's gonna attack Mia. The way we did it was we put a tween on him, going from right to left and going into his attack animation. All right. All right. This portion. So we're gonna go back here. There's a lot of stuff happening here, because as their fight is happening, this fight is concluding. So the world map, which everybody knows the world map from the Judgment Summon, I had to turn this into nighttime in order to be accurate to what's going on in the other fight. It'd be very weird if Mia and Nardi's fight is happening at the night time and this fight is happening in the daytime, because the background for world map is daytime. So we had to get rid of the background and paint it black. It was not fun, but again, Aseprite. So right now we have world map. We have a symbol right here that's simulating Planet Diver. We have the electricity sound effect. I'm probably gonna add an electricity ambience to it later. We have Heart, which Heart is a Frankenstein of a lot of characters, which I'll go over in a little bit, and she has aura around her. All right. When I get to Neo Judgment, I'll go over some things. It has a lot of flashbacks. Flashbacks are key. And like I mentioned before with Dark Dawn, unfortunately Dark Dawn, when it came to storytelling, it was not the best. It was really not the best. There was a lot of like plot holes. It's a lot of plot holes. They introduced a lot of things that probably could have made sense if they had a little bit more time with it, in my honest opinion, but yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it was still kind of like oof. So that's the main thing of this project. We're fixing things, but still making things more dark, adult-oriented, mature, all that fun jazz. But yeah, Dark Dawn definitely introduced a lot of things, questionable things, that could have worked if they just, in my honest opinion, applied it better. Like, for example, we have no idea what happened to the main antagonists at the end of Dark Dawn. They just disappeared, which I had to come up with my own lore for what happened. Like, this flashback, quote unquote, takes place in my story at the end of Dark Dawn. We just had her being severely maimed by all that light that happened. Lost a horn, her face got disfigured. Matthew saved the day, because Matthew's a good guy. I would assume if someone's like dying right in front of him, Matthew would save somebody, even if they're good or bad. He's like your typical shonen character. Right there. I never saw you two as evil people. And I just keep on panning. I keep on panning in and out of this, so it's just to simulate that she's thinking about what's going on, just remembering the past. We have her silhouetted just as a reference to Shadow Bobby from the first game. He was introduced as a silhouetted character. The reason why I have her shadowed out is just to show that she's hurt. More so because I didn't know how to make a damaged mugshot. I'm still thinking about how the hell I'm gonna do that. So her mugshot's always gonna be in silhouette for now. All right, next. We did a reference to one of her attacks that she kept on spamming in the game, which is Illusion Perfume. I just needed to make it a little bit more imposing. So the way I had it is just she redirected Planet Diver to go somewhere else. Change the trajectory. There we go. And I was being very cheeky with this because she spams this. But later on, I'm definitely going to add electricity to this. And obviously, Jetta doesn't know what the hell this is because she wasn't in Dark Dawn. If people want, I can go over shaking effects one more time. Just always leave in the comments section if you want me to go over things. I'm not the best at explaining it, but I can definitely type up a good storm. All right, so again, we're going to be going over Neo Judgment because Neo Judgment is very important because there's a lot of things happening there. We use Transmutate, which is a Dragon Ball sound effect just to simulate her sensing energy. For people that watch Dragon Ball Z, you will know this sound effect. They don't use it often, but they definitely use it. And for the Dragon Ball fans, there is a lot of references that's coming up. There's Transmutate. We'll use the camera effect just to make it a little bit more natural. Left, right. All right, so besides all the Dragon Ball sound effects, which you're going to hear a lot of them, because I needed to make sure that this felt very, very impactful. Later on, when we actually get to CapCut, we'll be adding all the cool visual effects. So, with Neo Judgment, as mentioned before, is just Judgment. We're just making it a little bit more different because of story more purposes, which we'll get into in a little bit. Judgment in general is an Earth summon, as people already know. It's a Venus summon. You summon him with Fortune, then he just does the cool stuff. Neo Judgment is not Earth at all. This could be a light summon. There's a reason why. So we took Judgment, and we had to do a lot of things because this is a reference to Gundam Wing. When Wing Zero was shooting the double Buster Cannon at the end of the movie. So same exact positioning. We had to take him apart. I had to redo his head over here because when he's doing the actual summon, it's his helmet is facing towards you at all times. So in order to get this to look right, I had to repaint this and have him looking diagonal. His sword that he has in his hand during the actual summon and the game is right back here. So I'm simulating him having his sheath. We took the Buster Cannon, his Lion Buster Cannon, and made it look like he's holding it with both hands to simulate more power. So this is why his hands are right here. His hands are right here. We had his wings point downward in order to show that he's facing diagonal. And we moved his legs from here to here. There's a lot of stuff happening here. But it took a while. And again, Aseprite is going to be your primary workhorse because it took us at least probably a couple of days to get this done, but it was definitely worth it in the end. So right now, we're going to be hearing a lot of Dragon Ball sound effects. And later on, like I mentioned, I'm going to be putting some cool effects on this. Yep. And this is a reference to Tien shooting the tri-beam as semi-perfect cell. I feel this could have been a lot better, though. Again, using enemy appearance, definitely the best choice for this. Shout out to Tien. Definitely shout out to him. Oh. Okay. So as mentioned, her section is now done. We're just making sure there's no crazy typos because sure, we're gonna have all these cool effects. It's just that one typo that would just kill it. And it's hard because there's a lot of writing in this. All right. Do. And again, one of the biggest things like Dark Dawn kind of screwed up on was the whole Dark Adept aspect because we don't know what they do. They just came out of nowhere and was like, hey, we're Dark Adepts. Cool, let's see some cool stuff. And it was just the rehash of the other fights. I'm like, damn, that was kind of bad that they did that. So at least with this, we know she's a Dark Adept. So I have a lot of dark effects and I have a very creative imagination. So that's what, thank you for the laugh. This is why I'm having her do some funky stuff. And like I mentioned before, Heart Sprite is pretty much a Frankenstein of a lot of assets. Because she's from a 3D game. She's not. Her sprite is not a thing in the Lost Age or the original game because she's not there. She's a Dark Dawn character. So we had to make a sprite from the ground up. And again, it wouldn't be one of my sprite animations if I didn't do an Ed and Eddie gag. This section, I feel, besides Neo Judgment, is one of the most important sections. So I have to really like lock in and make sure there's no crazy typos, especially like with Saboteur over there. And again, I'm not really like gonna be worried about the aura. It could have been smoothed out a little bit, but I think it's fine. Unless you're really, really looking at it, you can tell like it's not in perfect unison. So right now we are definitely just building up the suspense a little bit. That's why I'm keeping Karis just quiet until she says, "Hello, heart." The buildup is, I feel, is very, very necessary for like antagonists. And adding Doom definitely helped out. I do have some nighttime ambience I'm probably gonna add here, but we'll see. Okay, anyways, back to this. So, as mentioned before earlier, these are actual like dialogue from the final boss of Dark Dawn. Just the parentheses are things I just added in there. Because I feel people's internal thoughts do matter, but again, we never really know what they think internally, so it's just fair game with this. I added the flashes just to change things around a little bit because the flash, all this is not happening at the same time. This is after the fight, so the flash is just to simulate that the fight is over. And this is where kaboom happens. Okay, let me actually go over her. I can do this real quick. Okay, we're gonna go over this one more time. So her mugshot this is not how she looks in the game. Hell no, because as we know, Karis has a smile on her face. It definitely has a smile on her face. So we had to make this new. We had to take her basic base mugshot and make it look a little bit more imposing. And the way I did it was get rid of her smile and just give her a very neutral mouth. And just have her eyes just look downwards. Like this entire time, she looks like she just has no emotion. In my opinion. I could be wrong. All right. And like I said yesterday, unfortunately, today, I couldn't stream yesterday because the connection here was just terrible last night. So I just did a lot of things off stream. So this whole entire section is now done. I'm just doing the final checks on the typos just to make sure there isn't any typos. But effects are added. The final sequence is done for the most part. There's like a little tiny section I gotta add text boxes to, but it should be good to go. Then we can finally get to the final portion, which is Mia's section. Which I still gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. Having her be very what's the word? Cryptic. Having her be very cryptic and not aloof, but dark helps a lot here. Like you can tell, like this is the same character that we know, but some shit went down. She's not as happy-go-lucky. Well, she can't even say happy-go-lucky. She's not as innocent. She's not as innocent as she was in Dark Dawn, because Karis was relatively innocent. She was smart, like her dad. Right here, she's just completely like dark and imposing. This clearly things that she would not say. I was being cheeky with this. I'm not gonna let that go. They really. It's been about 16 years since Dark Dawn came out. They are really actually killed this IP. Machinations of those in the shadows. That's and that Dark Dawn was the harbinger of the end. I was being very silly with this. And again, her mugshot we made in Aseprite together, and her new pose, because again, Karis doesn't belong in this setting because she's a Dark Dawn character, which is a 3D game. So we had to make her sprite from the ground up in Aseprite. So we used Jenna as a base because again, Jenna wears a skirt and has boots on. So Karis does have a skirt and has boots on. So we used that as a base. Took a very long time. We're still making stuff for her. I just needed like the basics, just a good idle pose, an attack pose, a battle pose, damage, and all that stuff. But yeah, we're still going and making stuff for her because we are introducing. She's part of a group. She's part of the other antagonists for this story. Because I'll take this to the grave. From Mercury Lighthouse all the way until Venus, there's a lot of nothing happening. There's stuff happening because of story, of course, but the suspense from Vale to Mercury Lighthouse, it dies down so much after. Oh, apparently at the update the driver. Anyways, from Mercury Lighthouse all the way until like Toby, like there is little to no suspense. So I'm keeping the suspense active at all times in the story. So I'm introducing a group of 4 to be a foil to Isaac's party. We already got the characters done. Sarah's gonna show up at the end of it. We have Karis over here. She's gonna be a foil to Ivan. Makes sense. We have Azuki. We have Mira. I definitely was pushing this right here. Because, as we know, Karis was a happy-go-lucky girl, and this next sequence goes completely against her character. So pay attention to the dialogue. I was definitely pushing this. And this is supposed to, in my story, this is the end of Dark Dawn. Yep, definitely goes against her character. It's part of the reason why her background for her mugshot's black. Having her not saying anything is actually helps a lot. Because we don't know what her emotions are right now. Yep. And also threw a jab at this. They didn't go into too much detail about it. They were being cryptic. They certainly were being cryptic. Hey, we're Dark Steps. Okay. What is that? There we go. Light is fatal to them. And again, I can actually see Matthew being that type of guy. Even if you're his enemy, he won't want to see you die. I see. I can just picture this. Just her, just like staring at her, just like stone facing, just like no emotion in her eyes. That shit is terrifying. Thank God there's no typos right now. I say this now, but there'll be a very random one later on that'll just upset me once I actually finish this. Shout out to Zelda. I gotta put the flash on that later. Alright, first section's done. Later on, I will add more dialogue to that, but we aren't going to be working on that right now. We're going to be working on Mia's section. So, alright. Let's watch the fight first, then we can figure out things as we go. Because for now, we're about 46 minutes into this. So let's watch the fight, and we'll think of things to do. Oh yeah, this is the reason why it's taking a bit is because of dialogue purposes. I'm probably gonna have to extend this a lot. I just gave myself a good amount of real estate to work on, but definitely gonna have to put more stuff for this later. So I wouldn't be surprised if this actually pushes an hour long. All right, should be now. I did a slight little gag here. It's not a gag per se. It's just a very cute reference, which we're going to see in a second. I do have a. I won't miss. What do I want to do here? I know there has to be a lot of dialogue here. This is technically another plane of existence. It's weird. When Death attacked her earlier, her body is still on the outside. I guess you could say he sent her spirit here. I guess we can just go with that. All right, we'll figure it out as we go. And obviously, she takes over the fight. She's only temporarily able to take her form. So Mia attacks Death, and she attacks Death, then boom, comes back. So that's what we'll go. She got sent to another plane. Okay. And after that, we can finally transition into Isaac's section. Holy crap. And we'll just show this to Tenno off real quick, and we can continue on. Besides Karis right here, this is the group of four. This is the group of four that's gonna be a full Isaac's party throughout the entirety of this Sprite animation until we get to Golden Sun. The end of Golden Sun too, actually. So we already been introduced to Karis. She's right there, as you can tell by the white boots. Sarah's the ringleader. She's a pretty special character. These two characters here, I based their sprites off of Tales of the World Not a Kitty Dungeon because their sprites are very similar to Golden Sun sprites, so we can actually get away with it. I just didn't want to keep on doing what's the word? Palette swaps of characters we know, because with Sarah's based off Shiba sprite, a very heavily modified Shiba sprite, very heavily modified, and Sarah's based off of the unidentified mugshot from the game files. If you look in the game files, there is a mugshot that's not used. It's actually called unidentified. So I just said, fuck it, we're just gonna go with that. And as I mentioned before, Karis over here is based off of Jenna sprite. All right, let's see. This is where Azuki and Mira go off. They have their own missions. So Sarah talks to Karis right here. I already know exactly what she's gonna tell Karis. She's gonna tell Karis, go home. Which Karis will be very pissed off about that. I actually have her smacking the crap out of her too. And as you can see, Mira's primary weapon is a pike. These characters do not use pikes. And because of popular demand, we have firearms. So our secondary weapon will be a firearm. Because these guys are, besides Karis, they're all human. No one has humans. So I can't picture her throwing her pike because she'll have to go pick it back up. So having a secondary weapon actually is good. She'll have her little monologue here. And then she'll turn around, because I didn't know how to actually do this with a cape like this. We just had a little flash and her cape goes away. Now, like I mentioned before, she's based off a very heavily modified Shiba sprite, which is also based off of the unidentified mugshot. Okay, now we're good. We're gonna start right here. Perfect. Okay, let's go back and grab the other stuff. All right, as usual, because we're doing lore stuff, we're going to listen to music in the background. We're going to do this for like another 20 to 30 minutes. Then I got to go take a nap because I got work tonight. This theme. The very toxic battle theme. Okay. Just to keep things uniform, I'm being very lazy and just grabbing a section of dialogue and text boxes from the beginning. So right there. Perfect. What the fuck? I most certainly did copy all that. I guess not. Y'all definitely saw me copy all that. Control C. Right there. It's like right here. There we go. Now the hard part. Coming up with dialogue. Unfortunately, the issue with DaVinci Resolve is it does not like Golden Sun font. We can actually get the font to work, but if we want it authenticized, we can't, because you cannot use Golden Sun font, the font family, and put italicized. It has to stay on regular, so you're not gonna get your authenticity. All right. And I'll throw a little gag at normal Mia. For those familiar with the series, this is a custom Mia sprite. A custom Mia sprite and custom mugshot. Okay. Besides that, this place feels ominous. Oh man, we got peak music. My bearings. That's very reckless of me. Okay, cool. I'm not dead, right? Oh shit! I fucked up. Damn it! I fucked up. You can tell. You can tell right here. I did not notice this. Look at her sprite color. There's a tint. Her hand does not have a tint. That's on me. That's a oof on my end. I could actually add a tint. I mean, I could, but that's an oversight on my end. I fucked up. M6. Moving through your... Damn it. How did I miss that? You can't be perfect, unfortunately. Perfect. That's the word I wanted to use. Shit. Let me see. I can do this. I can actually fix this. Effects. Resolve. I'd have to do for all these. It's fine. Just putting a vignette here wouldn't be that bad. But her hand is still very like bright, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Just goes to show you, it won't always be 100% perfect. Also, always make sure these are lined up perfectly, or else you'll have a random flash in text boxes. You have that blank space, then go like that. Always make sure they're lined up properly. I do 5 seconds because people are very slow readers. I'm a fast reader, so I can read something in like 3 seconds, but I'm giving people an extra 2 seconds for dialogue purposes. Okay. We'll just do it like that. See, I'm fine with this song. We're just keep it just as is. No crazy wonky remixes like yesterday. That was nuts. All right, let's pause this, pause music, and read all this together just to make sure this actually like sounds right. Okay. Ah, see, I fucked up. For now, I will get my bearings. Yep, it only takes that one. All right, so let's put dot 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 right now. For now, I will get my bearings. There we go. This is why we do these watches. Hmm. Though still have, I still have the sense of, hmm. I still have the sense of touch. If I can actually spell. Hmm. All right, space this here. This is definitely strange. I still have the sense of touch. It still hurts everywhere. Okay, so because I'm being very lazy right now, I'm not gonna find this in my pool right now. I'm not. Ice, 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 ice. Damn. Ice, ice, ice. Please tell me I'm gonna find it. Thank God. Be able to crystallize right. This is gonna be so loud. All right. So with sound effects, like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna go over sound effects because sound effects, unfortunately, will usually come up as mono. So I grabbed Crystallize just to. This is what I use for Ice for her specifically. So we're gonna click on Crystallize. We're gonna put this down all the way down to 13.7. I use at least 14 to 13 as a baseline for actual like attack sound effects. From there, make sure it's clicked. Right click it. Go to Clip Attributes. It's the second to last option. A pop up will open up. Make sure you're on the Audio tab. Go to Format. It'll be set on mono, which is right now this is set on mono. Unfortunately, you can't see it because OBS is stupid. Click on mono. Go down to stereo. On the next section, the source channel, because this was set on mono, you only have one embedded channel, which is embedded channel 1. As soon as you transfer it over to stereo, another separate channel will show up. So you'll have an embedded channel 1, then none will show up. Click on none. The only option you'll have is embedded channel 1. So click on that. So now you should have 2 embedded channels. Click OK. And now the sound effect will go through both ears. Because if you kept it on mono, it would only go through one ear. So this starts right here. I want to keep it lined up. Just make sure it doesn't peak. All right, back to music. Fuck. Synergy still works. Wait. Oh my god. I really fucked that one up. I can still... Yikes. This is why we always go back and look. I can still manifest ice. I'm being cute. Okay. All right, next section. Where's my equipment? No, I'll just say, wait. All right. What is happening? Okay. All right, let's do one more watch of this, then we'll wrap it up. And later tonight, we'll try to do another stream. Results may vary because, damn, this hotel's internet at night. Hold on. Okay, so just looking at this, the Nightmare Fuel section with the demon, I'll sleep on it because I'm gonna take a nap, and I'll figure out something. She'll notice that she senses something behind her. Then obviously when we turn around, she's gone. And that's gonna set up the fight that's gonna happen soon. But I have an idea what I'm gonna do with this. I have an idea. I just don't know how to apply it just yet. Nightmare Fuel. Then she'll dash out of there. Then we'll get to this. All right, good stuff. As usual, if there's any questions, comments, and concerns, leave it in the comment section. If you have any suggestions, let me know, and I'll try to add it in there. If you dislike it. That'll let me know that I have to improve in other areas. Besides that, hopefully I'll be able to stream later. Enjoy the VOD guys, and I'll see y'all later. Thank you very much for the support. You guys will make this possible at the end of the day. Take care, everybody. We out. Bye-bye.